Hello, good morning, and greetings from Germany. I'm just trying to figure out how to share it to Facebook because I was 1 minute late and it said you have to do something, and I didn't know. So, no, this is not it. So, this might only be available on YouTube then, and not on Facebook. Anyway, I'm happy you are there. And maybe I can share later after it recorded. Not sure. I hope you all are well. And prepared for more Dhamma. A virtual hug. Thank you. Yes, I wish a peaceful day to everyone too. Let me just check if I can see how I could get this to Facebook, because usually there are plenty people watching from Facebook and they're probably wondering why this is not on. I'm not too familiar. Maybe please bear up with me. This technique is not no. No, anyway, I'm starting a live broadcast on Facebook, and in any case, I could publish that later, although maybe people wouldn't know that we're doing this and are upset that Buddhist Insight is not sharing, or that I missed it again. I think I leave it as it is. This is at least working. So here in Germany, it's afternoon of a very, very beautiful day. And we had some interesting times since last week's. Our wood stoves, wood ovens, no, I think it's called wood stoves, were shut down by the official chimney worker because our roof shifted a little bit and there was a crack in the chimney, and the smoke came out. So we're quite happy that the nun through whose room the chimney was going is not a smoked nun, but still with us and alive. So then the other heating system also broke and the car didn't start because it was frozen, because we had 17 degrees minus. So it was a little bit rough these days, but presently all is good. And we're living in Anenja Vihara. Anenja means unshakable. So that's what we try to live up to be unshakable. And also, it is almost Christmas time, and there is that song Silent Night. Is it? No, Holy Night, Silent Night, or Silent Night, Holy Night. And I thought about it and thought we too have that. That might be a little bit different in the Buddhist teaching, the Holy Night, Silent Night. But if we think of the Bhaddekaratta Sutta, which might also be called Bhaddekaratti Sutta, this is a single excellent night or an auspicious night. And this is what I wanted to talk about and what I wanted to read out first. You know, the silent night, the Christmas. I think in America, even more than here in Europe, it starts in some at some point in October, and then it keeps on going with all these songs and all this decoration. And usually we have the Christmas refugees coming to our monastery, those who don't want to celebrate Christmas, and those who are tired of the songs and can't hear them anymore. Usually they come to our monastery at this time of the year, and they stay usually on for the New Year's retreat that we have from the 28th to the through 2nd of January. And this year it's a little bit different due to COVID. So we cannot take on too many refugees, too many Christmas refugees. They have to stay at home and be with us that way. But anyways, I wish you and those people who cannot come a really auspicious time and a really excellent every single day and every single night. And well, before I talk too much, I read first, huh? Majjhima Nikaya 131, Bhaddekaratta Sutta, a single excellent night. Thus have I heard. On one occasion, the Blessed One was living at Savathi's in Jeta's Grove, Anathapindika's park. There, he addressed the bhikkhus thus. Bhikkhus, Venerable Sir, they replied. The Blessed One said this. Bhikkhus, I shall teach you the summary and exposition of one who has had a single excellent night. Listen and attend closely to what I shall say. Yes, Venerable Sir, the bhikkhus replied. The Blessed One said this. Let not a person revive the past, or on the future build his hopes, for the past has been left behind, and the future has not been reached. Instead, with insight let him see each presently arisen state. Let him know that and be sure of it, invincibly, unshakably. Today, the effort must be made. Tomorrow, death may come. Who knows? No bargain with mortality can keep him and his hordes away. But one who dwells thus ardently, relentlessly, by day, by night, it is he, the peaceful sage has said, who has had a single excellent night. How, bhikkhus, does one revive the past? One nurtures delighting there, thinking, I had such material form in the past. Or one nurtures delight there, thinking, I had such feeling in the past. I had such perception in the past. I had such formations in the past. I had such consciousness in the past. That is how one revives the past. And how, bhikkhus, does one not revive the past? One does not nurture delight there, thinking, I had such material form in the past. Or one does not nurture delight there, thinking, I had such feeling in the past. I had such perception in the past. I had such formations in the past. I had such consciousness in the past. That is how one does not revive the past. And how, bhikkhus, does one build up hope upon the future? One nurtures delight there, thinking, may I have such material form in the future? Or nurtures delight there, thinking, may I have such feeling in the future? Or may I have such perception in the future? May I have such formations in future? May I have such consciousness in the future? That is how one builds up hope upon the future. And how, bhikkhus, does one not build up hope upon the future? One does not nurture delight there, thinking, may I have such material form in the future? Or one does not nurture delight there, thinking, may I have such feeling in the future? May I have such perception in the future? May I have such formations in the future? Or may I have such consciousness in the future? That is how one does not build up hope upon the future. And how, bhikkhus, is one vanquished in regard to presently arisen states? Here, bhikkhus, an untaught, ordinary, undisciplined. Here, bhikkhus, an untaught, ordinary person who has no regard for noble ones and is unskilled and undisciplined in their Dhamma, who has no regard for true men and is unskilled and undisciplined in their Dhamma, regards material form as self, or self as possessed of material form, or material form as in self, or as self in material form. He regards feelings as self, perception as self, formations as self, consciousness as a self, or self as possessed of consciousness, or consciousness as in self, or self as in consciousness. That is how one is vanquished in regard to presently arisen states. And how, bhikkhus, is one invincible In regard to presently arisen states, here, bhikkhus, a well-taught noble disciple who has regard for noble ones and is skilled and disciplined in their Dhamma, who has regard for true men and is still skilled and disciplined in their Dhamma, does not regard material form as self, or self as possessed of material form, or material form as in self, or self as in material form. He does not regard feeling as self, perception as self, formations as self, consciousness as self, or self as possessed of consciousness, or consciousness as in self, or self as in consciousness. That is how one is invincible in regard to presently arisen states. Let not a person revive the past, or build on the future builds his hope. For the past has been left behind, and the future has not yet been reached. Instead, with insight, let him see each presently arisen state. Let him know that, and be sure of it, invincibly, unshakably. Today the effort must be made. Tomorrow death may come. Who knows? No bargain with mortality can keep him and his words away, but one who dwells thus ardently, relentlessly, by day, by night, it is he, the peaceful sage has said, who has had a single excellent night. So, it was with reference to this that it was said, Bhikkhus, I shall teach you the summary and exposition of one who has had a single excellent night. And I repeat the poem again because the second time I ruined it, kind of. Let not a person revive the past, or on the future build his hopes, for the past has been left behind, and the future has not yet been reached. Instead, with insight, let him see each presently arisen state. Let him know that and be sure of it, invincibly, unshakably. Today, the effort must be made. Tomorrow, death may come. Who knows? No bargain with mortality can keep him and his hordes away, but one who dwells thus ardently, relentlessly, by day, by night, it is he, the peaceful sage has said, who has had a single excellent night. So, and this is our Buddhist holy night, silent night. This, the commentaries, and there are a lot of commentaries about this sutta, or the following suttas in the Majjhima Nikaya, 131, 131, and the following suttas are all about that state. So Ananda is repeating it, and then other bhikkhunis are repeating it. So this has had a great impact on the Sangha at the time of the Buddha, because there is almost no other sutta to which other bhikkhus refer so much So when we say a single excellent night, the first thing, Bhaddekaratta, could also be translated and is translated also differently. And then something with attachment comes out, but this seems to me quite unlikely. So I said in the beginning, it could be Bhaddekaratti, which would refer to the night, which is more likely to be true. And so here in the poem, the Buddha speaks about one who practices day and night ardently and alert, and who in the end might become enlightened. And for those people who practice for enlightenment, each moment they practice is a single excellent moment. And when we keep practicing day and night, it becomes our holy night, our silent night. Because, of course, we are sitting there silent. And we are sitting there trying to instill our mind and bring peace. And that what the Christian idea of what holy night, silent night stands for. So we try to instill that within us whenever we practice for enlightenment. We are trying to live up to that. But let's go through the poem from the beginning. Let not a person revive the past, or build his hopes on future. There are plenty different translations of it, and you just need to open a chanting book or so. This is almost always there, and it is almost translated differently. But the meaning of it is very clearly that we should not attach ourselves to what has been or what comes. This is the single most explicit reminder of the Buddha that we have to stick with the present moment, and now and now and now and now, with the really very present moment. And he explains then later in the what is coming up, he explains what he's meaning, and how does one not revive the past. Or let's go to the part where one goes to revive the past. One nurtures delight thinking, I had such a material form in the past. And when we read this kind of reads very far away from us, no? It's kind of nothing to do with me, but it's closer than we think. For me, of course, this could be related to what the other ascetics or the ascetics of other sects are saying and teaching, but this is also very, very close to our heart, very, very close to our thinking, because we're always thinking of our past and of our material form in the past. Just now I'm 60, don't know, 62, and how often do I think, oh, this is not going so well anymore. A few years back, this was going better. Like when I move or so on. This is exactly what is meant. And when one is constantly thinking about the physical appearance and thinking, oh, I'm getting older, and oh, how it was better in the past, how I could move and how I could whatever, then this is exactly what the Buddha is talking of. Or when I had such feeling in the past, of course, when we lose things, anicca, the changeability of things or impermanence is omnipresent. It's everywhere. And just in that second, I could think about the feeling that I had, either good or bad. So presently, I'm having a stomach bug, not COVID, tested, vaccinated, everything, but no, we are having a stomach bug in the monastery. So I could think, oh, this material form feels so and so, and earlier it was feeling better. So I'm thinking of the past. And that also could go to the future, when I'm feeling bad. I could think, oh, may this feeling of stomach pain and whatever comes with it cease very soon. I don't want it. So may it cease in future. That is exactly, this is what the Buddha is teaching here. Dwelling in the past or dwelling, hoping for the future. It's not far away from us. It's not only the teaching of other sects. It's what is related to us in every single moment that we are not aware of, but who goes past us, and then later when we lost it, we try to catch it. Or we're not in the present moment and going into the future with our minds and try to run towards it. We shall sit or stand or walk, whatever, in the present moment. And there live, and there acknowledge pain, there acknowledge whatever there is, and just be with it. So we have left behind the past, and we can't change it anymore. And the Buddha is even going as far when he refers to that in other suttas, that we shall not for example, have guilt or feel too bad about when we did something wrong. We shall take on responsibility what we did in the past. Of course, we can't escape karma, and better we take responsibility. But to dwell in the past, it's not then that we cannot think of the past, it's we can think of the past like, in a sense, well, in the past I did this and that, I blamed somebody incorrectly, I said something incorrectly, I did something wrong, and then one can consider and rectify the situation, for example. In that way, we can be aware of the past and we can build on it to make future better. It's not that we have to deny that there is any future. Future will come, that's for certain. If we don't die in that moment, then future is coming. And we can take what we've done or learned in the past, look at it in the present moment, understand it, rectify and correct it if necessary, and if not, we move on. So with this, instead, let him see each with insight, let him see each presently arisen state. You know what is important to us, what really matters in our thoughts, that comes up when we practice, for example. And it comes up more than once, usually. So when it came up once, we don't need to write it down, or we don't need to cling to it. When it's important, it will come back. And then we can attend to it. Melissa says something. Also, what a parent with a rare disease. With a parent. Yes. So if you have the situation that you have a sickness. Somebody's coming in. So with the sickness of a parent, for example, and it's a terminal illness, then you have to be prepared, and you better prepare in this very moment, because the future for sure is to come. But the moment to prepare is now. You can't prevent or change the future. You have to go with what comes, but you can make your mind ready to be prepared what is going on. I'm a little bit confused because people are coming in and going and sitting down, but I'll be back here. So I try to prepare to brace myself. On good days, I let it go with understanding. That is what can be done. Because when there's, in parents, or even worse, in children, when there's a terminal sickness in the family, and there is no other way than accepting it, then being in the present moment and trying to find a stable heart and a stable mind there is all you can do. I mean, this is really a really hard task, this is I'm sending you so much love, and I would I would love to hug you, but yeah, I hope you receive my heartfelt karuna at this moment. And yes, I'm with you, and I haven't thought of that earlier, but this is really very, very important. And if we try to prepare, we need to take into consideration that as much as we try to prepare, that we don't already in the moment. because this is something that you can't really prepare for, but the more you learn to be equanimous in the present moment, the better I think you can move on. So in this case, when you have this anticipatory grief because a family member is dying for sure in the nearer future, then you need to stabilize your heart and your mind. And therefore you need equanimity. And I think one thing that could help in that moment is that you have done everything you could, and that you have given to that person every love you could, and that you shared with that person what you needed to share, and that you have no regrets to take with you, or that you open your heart to what they have to tell you, and that you might be able to give them moments with you together where you do things for them, that you both have a shared good time, that they in the moment of their death can not cling on, but hold on and think of as means to calm themselves down, because that might not be easy for them to go, And so if you have questions on this more later, we might come back to that topic, okay? Ayya, in your daily activities, how can, in our day, Ayya, in our daily activities, how can one develop emptiness? Is it by observing what is arising and passing away, seeing impermanence? Cheetah, you can have questions. Oh dear. In daily activities, emptiness, I would have believed or thought that daily activities and emptiness is something diametral apart. But of course, as you can prepare for somebody else's death, you can also prepare for emptiness. And you can do that in daily activities. But the emptiness, of course, is happening then in the meditation. It's not probably happening within the daily activities, as when I maybe one day we talk about that, the suttas where the sutta talks about the where the Buddha talks about emptiness, the Sunyata chapter, or the Sunyata, greater and smaller Sunyata suttas in the Majjhima Nikaya. And this refers, of course, to meditative states. It's not that you being empty or in meditative states practice your daily activities, but if you, in your daily activities, observe what is arising and passing away, if you really learn to let go every single moment, to just drop it without any comment, without any attachment, without anything that could in any regards make you hold on to it or wanting to have it back or leading to future, but just the present moment. If you can see this arising and passing away, then you can prepare for emptiness. If you see impermanence, really, really see impermanence, then you would see also the other two. And that would mean that you are fully enlightened. So we can, in our daily activities, see a little bit. We can enrich our understanding of what impermanence really can be in our daily activities. That for sure. When we see how we do these things, and then we do the dishes, and then we do whatever needs to be done. When we see that for what it is, and when we see our thoughts arising and passing away, then yes, then it might well be that you sit down one day and have the possibility to access emptiness. But as I said, it's a meditative state, and really nothing that happens during daily activities. Melissa says, So back to our sutta. So I was talking about how close these things are to us, the things of the future and the things of the past. And the present moment can really be so very, very short, so very brief, that it often goes unnoticed. And that is the problem with the daily activities. And so that is why we are always like not stable, not as it is mentioned in the verses, invincibly and unshakably, but rather we are vanquished and shaken about what has arisen. So what is missing still is, may I have such material form in the future? We haven't talked about those states really yet. So what does that mean? For example, a younger person, or in my case, now I said 62, and I think of when I'm 80. and I don't want to lose any of my physical capabilities, or I don't want to feel bad, or with a stomach bug, I don't want to get it worse, or we all don't want to have COVID. These are thoughts of your future or perceptions of the future. Or if I think, may I not have too many wrinkles, or may I not be whatever in old age, may I not need how are these the walker, no, may I not need a walker. This is thinking about the future, the formations in the future, Then the Buddha says, one who is vanquished in regard to presently arisen states. There's an untaught ordinary person. That's not you. You are going to see, and I think some of you every day, you are trying to get very, very close to the Dhamma, and you're trying to practice it and bring it also into daily activities. And so this is not you. But still, when we go, I have to include myself, when we go to see teachers and when we try to implement these things into daily activities, it can still happen that we think or regard our material form as self, or self as possessed of material form, or material form as in self, or self as in material form, or same with the feelings, with the perception, or with the formations, or with consciousness. So what does this mean? Excuse me 1 second. So, what does this mean when we regard our form as self? This is very, very common, to regard our form as self. This is the most common that we can do. We think, this body, I am, my arm, my hand, my face, my foot, my stomach. That is what is meant here. Or self as in material form. So this self as possessed of material form. So when I think, sometimes, when we practice, we come to a state where we see the self not being a self, but observing it like somebody, the observer, and making this a self. And so we are out of it and think of it, of the body, having a self or having not a self, and so on. This can become really screwed up. But any kind of having ideas about that self that we are is meant here. Because the Buddha clearly says again and again in so many suttas, this is not this is not me, this is not mine, this is not myself. Whatever there is, this is in regards to this physical form, this is in regards to the feelings, to the perceptions, to the mental formations, or to consciousness. And at least when we start to understand something about the non-self, the last and latest that we lose maybe is that we cling as a self to our consciousness and think, but yes, I am conscious. What am I aware of? Or to our perception, I perceive. So this is really a hard thing to get rid of. So let me see what we have here. There are some comments and questions again. Thank you, Ayya. When my mother passed away, I observed dukkha. Oh, okay. Next. Can you kindly comment on whether engaging in mindfulness of yes, I mean, the mindfulness of the 32 parts of the body is one of the things mentioned as Kayanupassi or Kayanupassana in the Satipatthana Sutta or in the Kayagata Sati Sutta that we already talked about. So this is certainly something that leads us to a better understanding of what this body or what this self or what conglomeration of body and mind really is. And some do it more in regards of unattractiveness, but you can also do it like just observing it and seeing it and see what arises, because it's there and it can be observed. I think, though, that in daily activities it's difficult. But you didn't ask for daily activities, but for daily contemplation. And yes, I think so. For some people, certainly this would be a good practice. And it's as good as observing the breath. It's as good as being aware of walking, standing, sitting, and laying down, because it's really Kayanupassana. And some people don't have kind of access to their body parts. So I wouldn't recommend them to do these things. I would recommend, well, then observe your breath. But if you have the possibility to observe these, to be mindful of them, then do it. This is a great practice. So what next? Oh, okay. This is more a discussion among people. Okay, well, I think this wonderful. I'm 77. The body slowly, often quickly decays and Greek Sanskrit. Pain becomes a more constant companion. Best not to identify with it, but excruciating pain. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. And this, of course, yeah, I hope when it comes to the time that I'm with excruciating pain on a daily basis, that I would remember the Buddha, who also had pain, but excruciating pain for the last few months of his life, as far as I understand it. So, and that I remember what he told Angulimala, to bear up with it. Yeah, there's not much we can do. There is no there's no bargaining with mortality, and there's also no bargaining with our karma. I mean, it's not all karma that we have excruciating pains or not, but probably a big part of it might be karma. And anyway, it is as it is, whether karma or not. We can't change it in that present moment. So there's no way then learn to be equanimous about it. And I hope I remember my words when it comes. There is something to be. Ayya, can we observe the 5 aggregates daily and see arising and passing away? Of course you can. You must. That is our work as practitioners, you know. The 5 aggregates. This is what the Buddha is talking about here when he says, when he speaks of the material form, of the feeling, of the perception, of the formations, and of consciousness. These are the 5 aggregates. And of course, we have to be aware of them. And we can see their arising and passing away in very quick succession when we are aware of. And sometimes it's not so easy to see the quick succession. Sometimes when we are upset, for example, we might think that it's long periods of terrible upset, but it's actually brief moments that we can observe and that come and go. And even in the upset, there is maybe an itch at the nose or a thought of, I need to pee or something. And that's a different moment. That's not the upset. So, and we make it last by not being in the present moment and by not being with it when things happen. So when we say, for example, upset is very likely to be like that. When it's upset, we want it to be flat out upset from the beginning, and maybe who knows when it will end. We don't want it to arise and cease. And that is a big thing, that we don't want this arising and passing away of things. But I think it's not the time to talk about that now. Just one last thing, but our time is up almost. This is wonderful opportunity, Ayya, to have this, to discuss the Dhamma. Yes, the joy is on my side to share the Dhamma with you. Time is up already. I hope to see you again, and I hope that next week I can manage to have the Facebook and all else again together with this stream. Now I don't know if I can post it, so fewer people have seen it. I'm sorry for that, my fault. Haven't been there in time. Bye-bye.